Cam Skattebo thought calling Shedeur broke would go viral, but he didn't expect Tom Brady to step in. And when the GOAT revealed what Shedeur is really worth, the whole room went silent. You won't believe what Brady said next.
Hey, why can't we get some balloons?
Hey, because you didn't buy it, it's broke. You bought the turtle.
We didn't buy the turtle.
No. If you might have money, ask me. I know you want to talk.
We got...
Not say nothing else to
So Shedeur Sanders and Cam Skattebo pulled up to a streamer event where they got $5K for set decorations and grub. But Shedeur...
Tom Brady just did something nobody expected. He went nuclear on Cam Skattebo for trying to humiliate Shedeur Sanders on a live show, and what he said has the entire NFL world shook. The seven-time Super Bowl champion didn't hold back, didn't sugarcoat it, and absolutely demolished Skattebo's credibility in front of millions of viewers. This wasn't just Tom defending another quarterback. This was a legend putting a young running back in his place for stepping out of line and disrespecting someone who's already operating at a level most players will never reach. What started as Cam calling Shedeur broke on live TV turned into one of the most embarrassing moments of his career when Brady stepped in with facts, numbers, and the kind of reality check that only a GOAT can deliver. Look, we've seen plenty of trash talk in the NFL. It's part of the game. Guys get competitive, emotions run high, and sometimes words fly that probably shouldn't. But what happened on this live show wasn't just regular banter between players. This was different. This was calculated disrespect aimed at one of the most scrutinized young quarterbacks in football. And when Tom Brady caught wind of it, he didn't just comment on it, he made sure the entire world understood exactly what was wrong with what Cam Skattebo said. Let me set the scene for you. The NFL world was already buzzing about this show. You had Micah Parsons in the building, Shedeur Sanders, the Sanders brothers, and a bunch of rising stars all gathered for what was supposed to be a chill, light-hearted conversation. The energy was competitive, but friendly. These guys were laughing, talking trash, keeping it loose. It was the kind of environment where you'd expect some playful jabs, maybe some jokes about who's faster or who's got the better contract, normal stuff. Then Cam Skattebo decided to take it somewhere else entirely. Out of nowhere, in the middle of what seemed like routine conversation, he looked directly at Shedeur Sanders and said, "You're broke." Just like that. Not as a joke, not with a smile that said he was playing. He said it with that energy that was meant to cut deep. He referenced Shedeur being a fifth-round contract holder, clearly trying to diminish him based on where he was drafted. The implication was obvious. You got picked later, so you must not be paid like the top guys. You're not on our level financially. The room felt it immediately. You could see it in people's faces. That wasn't playful anymore. That was a direct shot meant to embarrass someone on camera. And here's the thing, Shedeur didn't panic. He didn't snap back. He didn't try to get loud or create a scene. Instead, he gave this look, this calm, controlled, almost amused look that said more than any words could. And then he smiled. Not a friendly smile, not a nervous smile. It was the kind of smile that lets you know someone just stepped into territory they don't fully understand. That smile said, "You really don't know what you're talking about, do you?" Because here's what Cam Skattebo clearly didn't do before opening his mouth. He didn't check the numbers. He didn't look at the business side. He didn't understand who he was actually talking to. And that's where Tom Brady comes into this story. Because when Brady heard about what went down, he didn't stay quiet. He couldn't, because what Skattebo said wasn't just wrong, it was embarrassingly uninformed. Tom Brady went on record and absolutely destroyed the entire premise of that comment. And when I say destroyed, I mean he broke it down piece by piece in a way that left no room for debate. Brady started by addressing the draft position argument, which is what Skattebo tried to use as his ammunition. Brady said something that every veteran in the league knows, but apparently needed to be said out loud for the young guys. Draft position doesn't determine your value anymore. It hasn't for years. The game has changed. The business has changed. If you think being picked in the 5th round means someone is broke, you're not paying attention to how this league actually works now. And then Brady hit him with the facts, the real facts, that completely obliterate the idea that Shedeur Sanders is anything close to broke. He brought up the jersey sales. Shedeur Sanders is currently the highest jersey seller in the entire NFL this season, not just among rookies, not just among quarterbacks, among everyone. That means more fans are buying his name than established veterans, Pro Bowlers, and championship-winning players. Let that sit for a second. A guy who critics tried to label as overhyped is outselling the entire league in merchandise. Brady didn't stop there. He brought up the endorsement portfolio that Shedeur built before he even played his first professional snap. We're talking about a $125 million deal that shocked the sports business world. Most rookies don't see that kind of money in their entire career, and Shedeur secured it before taking a single NFL snap. Then, when he stepped on the field for his first preseason game, Nike activated a special clause in his contract that doubled the value. Just like that, his total earnings jumped to $250 million over 4 years. Brady laid this out methodically, almost like he was teaching a class. He explained how Shedeur negotiated a 50% cut from all his jersey sales. 50%. That means every time someone buys a Shedeur Sanders jersey, half of that profit goes directly to him. That's not just income, that's scalable revenue. That's business structure. That's the kind of deal that most players don't even think to ask for, let alone actually negotiate. And then came the Gatorade situation, which Tom Brady specifically highlighted as proof of elite-level business thinking. Brady talked about how Gatorade approached Shedeur with a $60 million offer over 3 years. For most athletes, that's automatic. You sign it, you celebrate, you move on. But Shedeur didn't move like most athletes. Instead of taking the guaranteed money up front, he negotiated for 3% ownership in Gatorade USA. Brady emphasized this point hard. He said that's not a rookie move, that's a CEO move. That's someone who understands that equity beats salary every single time when you're building generational wealth. 3% of a company that generates billions annually isn't small change. That's long-term positioning. That's the kind of decision that separates people who make money from people who build empires. Tom Brady made it crystal clear, Shedeur Sanders isn't just playing football, he's building a financial ecosystem that most players never even conceptualize. And for someone to sit on a live show and call him broke, Brady said it was embarrassing and showed a complete lack of understanding about how modern athletes operate. But Brady didn't just defend Shedeur's finances, he went deeper. He talked about the pressure Shedeur has faced since day one, the constant scrutiny, the critics who questioned his draft position, the analysts who debated his value, the social media attacks, the comparisons to his father. All of it. And through all of that noise, Shedeur kept his head down and kept stacking wins off the field. Quietly, strategically, patiently. And here's where Tom Brady said something that really hit different. He said that what Cam Skattebo did wasn't just disrespectful to Shedeur, it was disrespectful to the entire quarterback position. Because when you diminish a quarterback's value based on draft position, you're ignoring everything that position actually represents in this league. Brady knows quarterbacks better than anyone. He was picked 199th overall in the 6th round. He spent his entire career proving that draft position means nothing if you have the talent, the drive, and the intelligence to capitalize on your opportunities. So when he sees someone like Cam Skattebo, a running back who, let's be honest, doesn't have anywhere near the marketability or business portfolio of Shedeur, trying to diminish a quarterback based on where he was drafted, it hits personal. Brady said, "I've seen this movie before. People love to talk about draft slots like they're the final word on someone's career, but the only thing that matters is what you do with your opportunity and how you position yourself for long-term success. Shedeur is doing both at an elite level." And then Brady brought up something that nobody was really talking about, but needed to be said. He mentioned how Shedeur's calm response in that moment showed more maturity and professionalism than most veterans display. Shedeur didn't escalate. He didn't turn it into a shouting match. He didn't create a viral argument clip for clicks. He stayed composed. That composure, Brady said, is exactly why brands invest in him. That's why companies give him equity deals. That's why his market value keeps rising even when critics try to tear him down. Brady also addressed the irony of the situation. He pointed out that Cam Skattebo, while a talented player, doesn't have a fraction of the off-field business empire that Shedeur has built. His endorsement deals don't compare, his jersey sales don't compare, his market influence doesn't compare. So for him to sit there and question Shedeur's financial status was, in Brady's words, like someone driving a Honda trying to tell someone in a Lamborghini that they can't afford gas. The comparison was brutal but accurate, because when you actually look at the numbers, there's no contest. Shedeur Sanders is operating in a different financial stratosphere. His deal structures include equity positions, revenue participation, and long-term escalators that most rookies don't even know exist. He's not just earning a salary, he's building assets that will generate income for decades. Brady went on to explain how the modern NFL has shifted. He talked about how social media presence, brand partnerships, and cultural influence now play just as big a role in a player's earning potential as their on-field performance. And in every single one of those categories, Shedeur Sanders dominates. His social media following dwarfs most players in the league. His cultural impact is undeniable. His brand partnerships are with major corporations that don't invest lightly. Tom Brady made sure to hammer this point home. When you have the highest jersey sales in the league, when you have equity in billion-dollar companies, when you have revenue-sharing agreements that pay you every time someone buys your product, you're not broke. You're a business, and Shedeur Sanders is running his business better than most veterans who've been in this league for 10 years.
The NFL community's reaction to Brady's comments was immediate and overwhelming. Players started reposting his statements. Analysts began breaking down Shedeur's actual financial portfolio on air. Fans who had been defending Shedeur felt validated. And Cam Skattebo, he went quiet, real quiet. Because when Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, someone who built his own empire both on and off the field, calls you out for being uninformed, there's not much you can say in response. You either own the mistake or you disappear from the conversation. Skattebo chose the latter. But here's what makes this entire situation even more significant. This wasn't just about one awkward comment on a live show. This was about a larger narrative that's been unfairly attached to Shedeur Sanders since he declared for the draft. Critics have tried to diminish his value at every turn. They questioned his arm strength, they questioned his decision-making, they questioned whether he could succeed outside of his father's system. And when none of those narratives stuck because his play spoke for itself, some people pivoted to attacking his draft position, as if that somehow defined his worth. Tom Brady recognized that pattern and shut it down completely. He used his platform and his credibility to set the record straight in a way that can't be argued. When the GOAT says you're wrong, period. And let's talk about what this means for Shedeur moving forward, because this moment, as embarrassing as it was for Cam Skattebo, actually reinforced something crucial about Shedeur's brand. It showed that he has the respect and support of NFL legends. It showed that his business acumen is recognized at the highest levels. It showed that when people try to diminish him, the facts will always come to his defense. Tom Brady didn't have to say anything. He could have stayed out of it. He could have let it blow over as just another moment of athletes talking trash. But he chose to speak up because he saw something that needed to be addressed. He saw a young quarterback being disrespected based on misinformation, and he wasn't going to let that slide. The bigger picture here is about understanding value in today's NFL. Draft position is one data point, contract salary is another, but total earning potential? That includes endorsements, equity deals, revenue shares, brand partnerships, social media influence, and cultural impact. When you add all of that up, Shedeur Sanders isn't just financially secure. He's on a trajectory that could make him one of the wealthiest active athletes in any sport. Meanwhile, Cam Skattebo made a comment that will probably follow him for the rest of his career, because now, anytime someone brings up that moment, they'll also bring up how Tom Brady had to educate him on basic financial literacy. That's not a good look. That's not the kind of reputation you want in a league where your words can define how people see you off the field. And here's the final layer that makes this whole thing even more interesting. Shedeur never asked Tom Brady to defend him. He never needed it. He was handling the situation just fine with his calm composure and quiet confidence. but the fact that Brady felt compelled to step in anyway speaks volumes about how respected Shedeur already is among NFL elite. Veterans don't go to bat for rookies unless they see something special. They don't put their credibility on the line unless they genuinely believe in someone's character and potential. Tom Brady saw both in Shedeur Sanders, and when he had the opportunity to shut down a false narrative, he did it with the same precision and dominance that he showed on the field for 2 decades. So what do you think? Was Tom Brady right to destroy Cam Skattebo publicly, or should he have let Shedeur handle it himself? Do you think Skattebo learned his lesson, or is he still out there thinking draft position defines everything? And most importantly, where do you see Shedeur Sanders 5 years from now? As a Super Bowl champion, a billionaire, or both? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this conversation is just getting started. Are you Team Brady for speaking truth, or do you think he went too far? And don't forget to smash that subscribe button because we're covering every twist, every turn, and every moment where legends step up to defend the next generation of greatness. This is the kind of content you can't find anywhere else, so make sure you're locked in. Let's talk about it in the comments right now.